Hello there. I almost started with hey. Well, welcome back to Empower Your Soul. And it's really ironic that I really wanted to start this one a little different because I feel I want to do this one a little differently. And I want to talk about what's been going on with me in my, not my personal life, but maybe my more of my spiritual business perspective, my mindset, where I'm at. Because I think I don't know. What makes me unique is my transparency and how difficult this fucking journey is. And how it's not easy and it's not with the intention to complain. So I'm going to like hold on to my own energy and make sure none of my not negativity because I don't think it's negative, but I do hold myself to a very high standard. I am very tough on myself and I'm going to hold that to me so that you don't receive any of that. But what I do want you to do is kind of listen to the reality of what this work is and how I'm freaking out and how suddenly like things have changed. And it's been so interesting, this little short journey, and this has been probably over the last month and a half. And I think for me, it's this realization of everything happening in perfect timing. Because as you know, I am somebody who is a go-getter. I set goals. I run towards those goals as fast as I can. I am not here to enjoy the journey. I am here to get to the destination. I have been like this my entire freaking life. And so opening up this spiritual business and doing this spiritual work, it is no different for me. I mean, I'm sure you've heard me complain about the shamanism class taking too long. Me having to like wait 6 months after I finally figured I want to leave the corporate world to like open up this business. And it's like, I just want to go. I want to make the most amount of impact that I can in this world with the time I have. And who knows how long that's going to be. Maybe you're listening to this, I've already died. I have no idea. No, that's not true, at least right now in 2025, everybody. But I'm just saying, I want to make the biggest impact I can because it's not ego for me. And I've said this over and over again. And I want to caveat that because I think a lot of people that don't get me really don't get me. But hopefully all of you do get me because nothing I say comes from ego. And if it is, I will call it out. I truly want the best for people. I want people to be happy. I want people to be healed. I want people to be on their best path. And honest to God, if I could, I would save all your asses every day. Take your burdens and do the fight for you. But I know that's not in the highest interest of you and your journey and your learning, right? And I realize that my ego wants to come and help you. See, I called it out. I said I'd call it out. I called it out. My ego wants to come and take your pain away. But in reality, what I want to do is give you the best space, the best tools, the best knowledge, the best loving support and confidence that I can so that you can go out and do epic things just like me. I want everyone to feel the reward, right? Not that I think I'm perfect, but I digress. So it's been really interesting for me because I am somebody who, for the most part, I'm going to say gets very clear guidance from spirit, and I get very clear downloads from spirit, especially while I'm driving. If you are somebody, and if you haven't really thought about it, doing things, because I'm a very active person, I say, well, I haven't worked out for 3 weeks. I'm a very active person that when I'm moving, my brain is occupied. And then because my brain is on autopilot, moving my body, driving my car, doing the dishes is a good example I like to say all the time, then my mind, my ego-centered mind is busy, and that just clears the way for these spiritual downloads. So if you're like in the middle of something and you really want a spiritual download and meditation is not your jam, I absolutely recommend getting in your car and just driving. Ironically for me, it's best on the highway because I've been driving highways since, God, forever. I've commuted very long distances to every job, every college, that kind of thing. So driving for me is my sweet spot where I'm on autopilot and the downloads come in. So I get all these amazing downloads for my business. I'm going to toot my own horn for a second that are amazing. Like I have gotten downloads while I'm driving that were full books chapter by chapter by chapter. Not like the detail, but that's in my pocket, right? And when I'm on these downloads while I'm driving, I open up the voice memo on my phone and I hit record. That's kind of how I do these things. So I've gotten so many downloads, I'm going to say over the past 6 months, of things that I should be doing in my business, to the point where, and I'm such an action oriented person. So I get this download. I'll use my mediumship mastermind as an example. I get the download that I need to set up this, and this probably started mid last year, start this group of anything but absolute beginner. So anyone that can connect with spirit, create this group of people who can come in, who can continue their education with mediumship, that it can be flexible. You know, it's open enrollment. I freaking hate advertising for things, right? I hate putting the post. No one wants to see my advertising post. I don't even want to see my advertising post. I don't want to put that out there for you. So I really wanted it to be this unique school, because what I'm finding is a lot of the classes that I'm going to, they have a clear start, they have a clear stop, they have, I'm going to say, a defined coursework for the most part, which I usually just want 1 or 2 nuggets from, and the rest of it I've already kind of know, but I'm willing to sit through it in case there's little nuggets of gold in those classes too. So I got this download right after my first beginner's mediumship class, probably July last summer, and I stood it up. I stood it up on Kajabi, and my dear Karen, I know you're listening. She was the only one to sign up for it, which is fine. But that was a huge, and I didn't feel in my gut like I was ready to advertise for it yet. So I just knew the timing was right. So Karen, you're so kind, that she kind of hung out with me for a month, and then I kind of quote unquote closed the school, because it just wasn't, the timing wasn't right. So even though I went through all this effort, I got the subscription to Kajabi. I created all the icons. Like I set up the whole platform. I uploaded my pre-recorded videos and everything like that. It wasn't time. And I felt like it wasn't time. And I'm like, fine, it's fine. I'm not going to do it yet. So I waited and waited and waited. And then earlier this year, it was me that needed this school. I wasn't doing it. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm not doing it for other people. I'm doing it because it's the school that I want. It's the school that I would go to, because I'll tell you what, I am a part of April Curry's Akashic Records school, and it's a very similar format. So yeah, I copied you, April. I love you. But it's a very similar format where she has an open enrollment. You join whenever you want to join. You drop whenever you want to drop. Zero stress about that. And what she does is she hosts these classes and she records them, and then she takes the recordings and just posts them. So if you join now on April Curry's Akashic Records class, subscription, membership, whatever it is, you can join and immediately have access to 50, 60, 70 classes. So you can just like hop in there whenever you have a free minute, listen to how she is reading the records on this topic, like past lives, or like how to read the energy of businesses. And it's so freaking cool. And I just love that it's like very, it's very laissez-faire. It's very hands-off. So you can just hop right in there, go access it at your own pace. But then she also, at the same time, has live lessons where you can hop in and she can kind of coach you in those, right? And that is like, it's such a cool, relaxing energy vibe. And it really attracts the people that are here to do the work. There is no pressure. You show up or you don't show up. I don't need to advertise. She doesn't need to advertise. She just gives it to her students of her classes, and she's like, if you want to join, join. And there's something so cool about that energy, because she, and this is April, she naturally attracts the people who are supposed to be in her life. And she's so zen about it. She's so chill about it. So I wanted to create a school like hers that was zen and that was cool. And that was like, you could just hop in, you could listen to classes. And by the way, if you're listening to this right now and it's March 2025, there's not a lot of classes out there. That's why right now I'm doing a cheap rate to join, because you're going to help me build the library and then I'll charge more money. But, so that's what I did. So there was a point after I've been through April's school for a while, after I've learned about some, I'm going to say cheaper platforms, because Kajabi is not cheap, some cheaper platforms. And I was like, I think it's time now. And it's just, and I knew it was time because Spirit gave me all the breadcrumbs. So I think this is what I was talking about in a previous episode, where I might get this giant download, but I don't have all the pieces yet. But what's been happening is I've been getting these giant downloads, and historically I will jump right into every single one of these downloads, execute it, and then it's a giant freaking flop because not all the pieces are in place. The energy's not right. I'm missing things, right? So this is a really good example of how I set up this mediumship school a while ago, and you probably didn't hear about it because I didn't really advertise it at all. But now it's time. Now the pieces have shown up, and now I'm feeling really good about it. And now I need a space, by the way, to practice too, because I'm just finding personally there are no great places to practice mediumship out there. I can't with the spiritualist churches anymore. I can't do it. The energy's wonky. The teachers want you to do it their way. Like it doesn't work for me. It's too prescribed. It's too structured. And I need someone that's going to appreciate the way that I uniquely do mediumship. And I want to also be the person that brings people in and encourages them, do it your way. So that's what I mean when I say this business has really been evolving at lightning fucking pace lately. And it took me 6, 7, 8 months to get here. And it's brutal. That 6, 7, 8 months is so brutal, right? Because you know where you want to go, you know where you want to be. And in my head, in my logical, business-oriented brain, I know the steps to implement. I know the paths to get there. But what I'm really learning as of late is this go with the flow mentality and trusting that when Spirit is going to tell me it's time, all the pieces fall right into place. I still have to do the work to implement the pieces, and I still have to advertise, but like when I tell you that the pieces fall into place, the pieces fucking fall into place. So, and sorry, this probably goes against everything I just said in my ego versus science, but it doesn't, because it did start with the ego. I did start with the sign, jumped into it, and it wasn't right? So that's my example. And when the time was right, Spirit gave me the nudges. They gave me the pushes. They helped me point to the platform. They helped me implement the things. And then it was like literally everything was set up for me to hit a go button, and it went. Today is Tuesday. I'm recording this on Tuesday, March 4th. I barely advertised. I think I talked about this on my podcast on Monday, yesterday, that got released. I think I made one video about it on Saturday, and that was it. That's all I've done. Maybe one more post on social media that was like in my weekly review. I've had 9 people sign up. 9 people. 9. This is what alignment looks like, right? And like, I'm not expecting hundreds of people. I am so fucking happy with my 9 people. Thank you for those of you trusting me. And like, we had our first circle last night, and it was amazing. And it was just like the perfect energy, the perfect vibe. It's like, if I tried to push this before, it wouldn't look like this. It wouldn't feel like this. And this is like this weird space I'm in with my business right now, because not only these are the inner musings of me. I think everyone thinks I'm much further along in this spiritual work than I am. So I'm going to be totally honest with you. I've had a couple of mentors, mentees over, it's been mostly classes, but I've had a couple of one-on-one mentees, but I really haven't poured my energy into that space. I'm not ready to pour my energy into that space. Could I do it tomorrow? Absolutely. But for the most part, I've been really focusing on my one-on-one readings and my classes and my development classes. So I've had out there these mentoring programs out on my website for quite a while. There's no way to sign up, although I think I finally just enabled that over the past week or so. But they're just out there. Spiritual mentorship, a 3-month spiritual mentorship, a 3-month soul alignment mentorship, and a 3-month business alignment mentorship. And they have been out there since late last year. And I haven't done anything with it. Oh, sorry, January. When I read to my website, they've been out there since January, and I haven't looked at it. I have the information out there. You can't even sign up for these things. And then last week I was like, oh shit, if I'm getting this mentorship out there, I'm not doing one-on-one really feedback, guidelines, training, coaching in these sessions, besides like maybe what's in like the coffee and Q&A sessions on a monthly basis. So I'm like, okay, so if people do want to work with me, I should at least give them an avenue to book with me if they do want to do spiritual mentorship with me. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll finally fucking put it live on my website because it just all makes sense. And all of this, they're downloads from Spirit. So like one day last week, I set up the mastermind, literally. One day last week, I set up the mastermind. The next day, last week, I was like, okay, I'll set up my mentoring programs just in case. I already got somebody booked for that. And this is what alignment looks like. So I want to tell you and I'm not doing this to brag, because if anything, I'm probably throwing myself under the bus because you probably thought I had a whole bunch of people I'm mentoring, right? Like, but the reality is at this point, I'm not, because I'm working. It's not my focus. It's not where my energies wants to go. So it's not flowing that way, which is totally fine. And it's okay to admit that. It's okay to say that's not in alignment with me right now. And I'm sure there'll be times in the future where I'm like, why did I do this? But I'll just be honest with all of you. But I think that's the difference is before, I'm going to say like last year, it was push, 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 push. My energy was push, 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 push. Let me put this out there. Let me essentially take everything that I have. I'm going to throw it at the wall like it's pasta and see if it's done. I'm going to throw it at the wall. I'm going to put everything, and this is the way that we learn our businesses, right? This is the way we are told to run our businesses. Let me throw everything at the wall. Let me put everything out there and let me see what sticks. That was me. That was me in my business mentality. That was me with my marketing classes, right? Like I literally threw everything out there last year, and I saw what stuck. And I'll tell you what, most things didn't stick because they were not in alignment with my energy, my intentions. When I pushed it out there, not only was my alignment off, but it was like a radar for other people to see like, nope, that's not what I want to do. And by the way, if I did, I'm going to say sucker somebody, and not that Karen's a sucker, because I love you, Karen. You're not a sucker, because I know you are love and light, and I know you love me and I love you. But if there was any like other person that signed up, they would have been a sucker, and they wouldn't have been they wouldn't have been the type of client, the type of mentee, the type of student that I wanted to sign up with. And this is what I'm talking about. Like sometimes you have to really sit in the energy of these things and let it stew. Like let it come to temperature. Let yourself really see these inside and out, because we come from this very masculine, or at least me personally, comes from this very masculine background of if I'm not doing enough, if I'm not trying enough, I'm a failure. If I am sitting there watching Netflix or scrolling through TikTok, I'm a failure. Any sort of wasted productivity, and it was my literal job, any sort of wasted productivity is essentially time I'm wasting that I could be pushing for more clients, more money, being more successful. And when I say I quit my job in June of last year, it took me until, no fucking word of a lie, late January for that to be undone in me. That hustle fucking mentality took me 7 months, 8 months for that to be undone in me. So I just want to put that into perspective for all of you, that like there is, when you leave a very toxic environment, a very toxic organization, corporate culture, I don't know what it is, there is this undoing that needs to happen. And it's almost like I need to essentially go so far deep, because I'm stubborn as shit. I had to go so far deep into what I thought was the way I was supposed to do things, the way I was taught, the way I worked things in the corporate world, only to be met by dead end, by dead end, by dead end, for me to realize this isn't the way this works here. And what that looks like, and I talked about this in my rest and expand cycles of rest and expansion. I think that's what it was called episode, where that was the big picture of what was happening. I mean, I essentially threw so many darts at the wall and hit my head against the wall so many times that I had to stop. I had to give up. I was so burnt out by January of this year, 2 months ago, that I was like, I can't do this. And when I say I can't do this, like I told you, I went into hermit mode. I didn't make really social media posts. I was, that's when my microphone broke and I couldn't record podcast episodes. There's no accidents. There was no, so like, it was like, I needed that time to reset my energy. And again, when you pause and you're in that rest cycle, it's removing shit that doesn't serve you. So I want to tell you, like, there was something about, I said it to my business coach so eloquently, and I can't remember what I said, but it was something about I needed to undo the mindset of where I came from, and I needed to undo this perspective of if I wasn't doing enough, I was never going to get to where I wanted to be. And for some unfucking godly reason, in the shamanic class I had, I think it was the fourth weekend where we had the Peruvian elder, the Quieto elder, Don Wilbur, come back and like do this blessing and initiation. And I've talked about that. There was a moment in the rest of the weekend was not my favorite, but there was a moment in that where I felt so much expansion in my heart. Like, I'm pretty sure I was crying in that training because it just felt expansive. And I'm going to say, like, I feel like, knock on wood, that was the final undoing of all of these bad habits, bad thought patterns, bad beliefs. And it's like, it was the last thing that just fucking cleared me out. And where I have been for the past 4 weeks is this very odd state of peaceful bliss, which is ironic because I swear a lot on this podcast. But realistically, that's where I have been at. And it's when I say peaceful bliss, it feels like I can now observe my ego from an external perspective. I can now observe my ego as data, just like feelings, just like emotions, and not let it bother me or impact my decisions. I now trust wholeheartedly that I will be incredibly successful in this spiritual space. I have absolutely zero doubt. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I would also challenge myself to say I'm already there. And it's this fucking calmness that's like whatever is meant to be is meant to be. And I don't even know how to describe this because energetically, I feel like I've made it to the next level and I don't know what that means. But when I feel into my energy, and you're welcome to feel into it too if you can do it, it's like I'm floating above myself energetically. It's like I can kind of see everything and I don't really understand everything yet. So even though I can see, it's not like a matter of comprehension, but there's something about being elevated in my energy and just not letting things get to me like they used to and not stressing like I used to and just being in this flow state with this work all the time. And it's so difficult to describe. And I feel I don't even know what to say about that with all of you because it's just so. I've never felt this way my whole life. I've never felt this way my whole life. And I don't know if you feel the changed energy or what, but it's just so mind-blowing to me. And my business coach essentially said, I've kind of aligned with my higher self. Like that's how she's described it. She's like, you've reached that level. And she's like, this is the beginning for you. That like everything else was the undoing, but this is the beginning of a whole new version of Nicole. And I have to agree with her. So, and I don't want this to be like a giant bragging session at all. And you know that. That's not what this is about. But I just want to let you know that it hasn't been easy. Like, this journey with the spiritual business has been so difficult. And it's unlearning all of these human habits that our brains want to use and that we've been taught from like the best of the best. And like, you bet your ass I have so many like books in these shelves next to me that you can't see because the doors are shut, but like so many business books, so many marketing books, so many social media books, brand books that I've read on like how to position my business a certain way, how to talk about things, hooks, social media hooks. I know you noticed them. How to do videos so they're eye-catching, how to go viral. Like, because this is, I think, how most of us go at this work. And I don't think I'm going to change going at the work the way that I am, but I'm certainly at this just level of having more fun with it and trusting that if this is where I'm supposed to be, it's going to work out. To the point where, like, literally, I launched my mediumship mastermind. And my coach is like, well, what did you do this week? I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to launch my mastermind. She's like, what? You're going to launch your mastermind? I'm like, yeah, I think I'm just going to toss it out there and see what happens. And she's like, what? Really? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to see what. And then 9 fucking people sign up. Right? Like, this is what, like, and it's not always going to look like this. And maybe it will. And maybe it will. And that will be lovely. But it's just this. You know how I've always said, like, there's something big coming and I don't know what it is yet? I don't really care anymore because I know that what it is in perfect alignment and it will arrive at exactly the right time and I'm not going to stress about it. And that's kind of my mindset. So if you think you're weird in this journey, I just wanted to use this whole podcast to tell you there's nothing weird about your spiritual journey. There's nothing weird about your business journey. And if you're knocking your head and hitting your head against the wall, right, like there's a reason for that. So I guess, like, I just want to say, use your intuition with your business more. Use your intuition with all of your work. Trust that the universe is going to deliver what it's supposed to deliver in the right time. And if it feels like you're pushing, it's probably not the right time to do some of these things. Can you notice how I feel so much more comfortable talking about my business and being vulnerable about my business? I should probably go back and listen to my first episode or my second episode or whatever it was where I started talking about me and I was so uncomfortable. But I think this is part of my journey now, is just being fully transparent in this work and how there's a lot of ups and downs and there's no clear paths, but man, keep going, because it feels amazing when you get to that level and you're so confident in yourself and you're so sure of your path and you're so sure of the messages you're delivering for your clients. And maybe this isn't me. Maybe there's something new energetically. It's me. I hear it spirit say, but maybe there's something energetically that's going on with the world right now. Like, it's going down in a dumpster fire. It's flames right now. And I'm like, this is great. Everything's going to be fine. That's my mental state, if that really puts it into perspective for you. But I still have work to do. I still have to roll up my sleeves. Spirit is not going to solve all of these problems for me. They are not going to make it super easy for me. But I think the difference is I trust. I trust that what they're going to give me is the right path, and I'm no longer going to resist their signs, their suggestions, their path that they're kind of laying out for me. Whereas before, I would take what they said and like apply this mental, I don't know. I would challenge it and say, is this the right path? Is that going to make my money? Is that going to draw the clients in? Okay, so if it's not going to draw the clients in, what do I have to do to draw the clients in? And instead, I'm just going to listen and follow and see what happens. So enjoy this 2025, the year of Nicole, just doing what Spirit asked me to do. And we will see where I am at the year end. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop talking about myself now. Now I feel awkward again. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this resonated for you, and I hope it gives you a little bit of perspective in terms of what these businesses actually fucking feel like on the other side of it. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.